Hey chickadees, come on in for another episode of Mojo Mysticism. Today we're going to talk about what is standing in our way. We're going to do the 7 energy crescent reading, day 3, what's blocking us. So come on in and check it out. Okay, chickadees, so today we're going to continue our 7 energy crescent reading. Today is day 3. So I'm going to put the card image up here, let you take a look at them again, kind of orient yourself. If you want to go back and see day 1, which was about the spirit of gratitude, that was Monday, 2 days ago, I think. If you want to see yesterday, that was a burst of magic. That was the card 2. Today, we're going to talk about what is hidden, what is standing in our way. And that card for us is card number 13. This is called Feeling the World. And just looking at the card image, this young woman literally is holding the entire world in her hands, and it looks like it might be a little bit heavy. Looks like she might be feeling a little bit of it. And so we're going to explore this a little bit. So if we're looking at what is standing in our way, what this card is telling us is that if you're an empath like I am, we are very sensitive to the feelings of others around us. And so it is easy for us to take those feelings on and internalize them and to end up with a sense of overwhelm and feeling overloaded in our lives. So what this card is really telling us is that it's important that we manage our energy. So this is what's standing in our way. When we get out of balance energetically, we end up hitting a speed bump and we get that feeling of overload and overwhelm. This happens to me, honestly, a lot more than I want to admit. But the beautiful thing about empathy, and especially if you are an empath, it's such a beautiful thing to be a sensitive person and to take on the feelings of others. This reminds us that we are connected within this web of life. It reminds us on a continual basis of that fact. And so it is a beautiful trait and characteristic that we have. It also means we get the opportunity to manage it. So the thing that happens is that our boundaries get porous, right? We don't mind the boundaries very well. So if we're not minding the boundaries or mending the fences, if you want to use a fence analogy, then things can come in and come out. And so those boundaries that we have set up for us are intentional to help protect our energy and help us live better, empathetic lives. So we want to make sure that we know when those lines are getting blurred, when they're being crossed over, when we're allowing things to happen that we wouldn't normally allow, and then we're not taking care of ourselves either. So we want to make sure we are cleaning up those boundaries. We are mending those fences and fixing all the areas where the fence has been compromised and that boundary is now porous. So we want to go through that process and clean that up energetically so that we have good, strong boundaries in place. These boundaries should be firm and yet kind. Us empaths are pretty kind. We're not usually generally bristly people. And yet, when our boundaries get pushed and they get too porous and people cross over them and we end up in an energetic, I'm just going to call it hairball. So that's usually how I feel about it. It can get problematic. So if you're like me, I am super kind until I get back too far into a corner, usually a corner of my own making, because I let my boundaries get porous and I get pushed into the corner and poked at, and then things get weird. So have a tendency to lash out. I go into a much lower vibrational state. And the fact is that that happens because I didn't mind my boundaries. So we get the opportunity to look at our boundaries, make sure that they are still appropriately placed, because sometimes you might need to push them out a little bit, and sometimes you might be able to pull them back a little bit, but make sure that they are firm and kind boundaries that you have in place and that you are honoring yourself. Boundaries are an act of self-love, right? They are saying, I love myself enough to protect my energy at all costs. Well, maybe not all costs because we're empaths, so we're going to try to hold them as close as we can. But that's what we understand, is that if we allow our energy to be impacted too much by those around us, it makes us less effective in the work that we're here to do, especially if you're an empath who's a light worker. My tongue's twisted tonight. So when you have people around you who also, in addition to the boundaries, you may encounter people from time to time that really pull a lot of energy from you. This happens a lot to me. There are certain people in my life who I love and adore, and they siphon my energy. And so I need to know like when I'm going to be around them and how long and how much recovery time I need, just to be able to recharge my own batteries after that. There may come a time, and there is definitely a time and a place for letting those people go, okay? So you may be given an invitation to allow some people who are siphoning your energy and taking all of that energy and not giving anything back. You may be invited to allow them to leave your life. Be brave and allow that to happen. You will be better off for it. So one of the other things that we want to keep in mind is we don't want to mistake codependence for closeness and loosen those boundaries up. Codependency does not ever help doesn't help any of us, but it really doesn't help empaths, because we have a tendency to mistake that for closeness and then let our boundaries get a little bit more porous, and then our energy gets drained. So this is the big thing that is standing in our way in this 7-day Crescent reading. And if you remember at the beginning of the week, I told you this is going to get personal because I pulled this specifically for me and for you. And so this is the personal part, because I'm being reminded to manage my boundaries and manage my energy and pay a little bit more attention to it. So I'm coming up on a time of travel. And travel always kind of takes a lot of energy out of me. Just being around that many other energetic beings can definitely have an impact on my energy. And so there are things that I do that just help me manage my energy better during those times. So understand what that is for you, what drains your energy, what feeds you energy, and then where your boundaries are at, and mend those fences and try to get those the porous areas of your boundaries filled back in. But most importantly, understand this. If you are a beautiful, sensitive person, this is an incredible way to live your life. I would not trade being an empath for anything in the world. And I just know that there are certain things that I get the opportunity to do that help me manage the fact that I am a very sensitive person. So know who you are, understand what's happening around you, understand where your boundaries should be at any given moment, and kindly put them in place and don't budge them, right? Firmly hold them in place. So, the folks who love you, who are around you, are going to understand that you are trying to maintain your energy and you're trying to maintain, your vibrational state. That's what they're going to understand. And those who don't, it'd be interesting to see if those aren't the people siphoning your energy in the first place. My guess is they probably are. So, with that, chickadees, this is day 3. Definitely feeling the world. There are times when I do feel almost the whole world, and definitely gets overwhelming. So be kind to yourself, be gentle, be loving, and yet have firm, kindly placed boundaries that are non-negotiables for you. Take care of yourself first, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're of absolutely no use to anyone else. So I love you, my chickadees. Take good care today. Mwah.